Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Beav Brody from Tactical Baby Gear. We're still working on the Land Cruiser. We are working on the back. Now previously we've worked on the front of the car. We've done some other stuff. We did the Iron Man 4x4 front bumper, body armor, that kind of stuff. So now we're working on the rear, and I've got this 4x4 Labs build your own, do it yourself kit for a couple reasons. One, it was way cheaper. Two, you can get it way faster. I think they were on like a 16-week lead time to get you a built bumper, and I was able to get this in, I think, 10 or 14 days or something like that. So I opted to go this route because I've got my welder here to help me. Now we've already got the rear bumper off, as you saw. We're getting ready to cut this rear cross member. We've got some measurements to take and stuff like that, and we're gonna start reassembly after that. I think it's the bumper portion itself is gonna go very quickly. The swing out tire carriers, all that stuff is gonna be quite a bit more work. Are you ready to go? Let's do it. Nerve-wracking to you to like just start cutting the frame rail apart? Yeah. I used to get nervous about it. Now I don't really care. I've done it so many times on so many expensive cars. Just cut the frame. So it seems like this the measurements that I'm taking are based off of the position of the body mount, but where I measured exactly the same as the other side based on the instructions, it would cut through the bottom of this mounting hole that I need to keep. So it seems like the body mount's welded further back than the other side by like an 1/8 inch. So I'm gonna erase these lines, make some new lines, and we'll go from there. You know, like, measure twice, cut once, or something like that. Look at this maniac.
I was trying to scare Zuri. I was an inch. I thought she was going to surrender on me.
I don't think she cared. It's a lot of work to do. This, I think I got it a little over my head. I figured this would be a quick, like, day project. This is gonna take several days, I think, for sure. Okay, cut. Then, pull the trigger. Just when you think you're done like cutting stuff, you end up having to cut more stuff. So this has stainless steel, like an aftermarket or custom stainless steel exhaust system on it. And this is not the factory location for this hanger. This used to come back here more, I think. But in order to put this side piece on, I'm gonna have to change the exhaust system on this thing altogether. So I'm gonna cut this out of the way, and we'll figure out the exhaust later. Cool, that'll work. That's all the clearance I needed. But yeah, is this the right side? Yeah. Okay. Time to start putting this bad boy back together. All right, let's start back here, Kim. Yeah, there you go.
Move it forward a little bit.
There you go. All right, ready? This one in the very back again. There we go. 3. We got this thing all tacked together. We've got the side pieces with the face of it. The recovery points tie through into a cross member that ties into the hitch. Like, this thing is tied together. I'm really impressed so far. So we're gonna take it off. We're gonna weld all these seams up solid to make so it can do whatever kind of warping and tweaking it may do, which I don't think is gonna be much. And then we'll install the posts for the bearings that go on either side. And this has got a dual swing out. So it's gonna have the tire carrier swing out, and it's gonna have a ladder that goes up the back, as well as jerry cans and all that kind of stuff. So we gotta pull this thing off, and it's gonna be heavy. Just snug it up. Cool. Let me show you what's going on sort of behind the scenes and underneath with this thing. So these are recovery points that come through the front of the bumper here. They tie into these side pieces here, these side wings that give it that side armor. And then you've got the main, this cross member here that ties into the receiver hitch. That goes through here as well and is welded on the face. And then you've got these gussets, and this helps sort of transfer some of this force and weight across this cross member more than just pulling directly from the center. So it gives it a little bit more strength there. And then basically the same thing on this side. This thing is incredibly strong, the way they've designed it. So now we're gonna get into all these pieces. So I've got all these boxes of parts here. So these are gonna be like the spindles and the bearings and all the stuff that goes up on top of the bumper for the swing away tire carrier and the jerry can mount. I do have the ladder for it that goes up the right side. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it or not. And then I've got the rock sliders as well. So I think in this video I'll get to it. We'll pull the factory side steps off, and we'll install those rock sliders. So it sounds like I still have a lot of work to do. Let's keep working. I guess we should also confirm that this is 1 inch. Oh yeah. Okay guys, so here's where we're at. In full disclosure, this has been about 2 weeks now since I've worked on this thing. We've got the swing outs sort of tacked on place here. You saw us, we got the studs mounted there. We got the latch mounted here, so this is like a release thing here. Pop this guy open like this. The swing outs will swing out. We've got a stop here, and then there's these little supports and stops here on the end of this. So when this closes, you can see that that's gonna support the weight on the end of this tubing, and then obviously give us a nice hard stop there. We've still got a lot to do. We've got to cap off the ends of these. We've got to finish welding all that stuff up. I've got some more bars that are gonna go on here. And then we've got to start building the tire carrier and the jerry can carrier and all that stuff. All right, so the next thing we've got to do now is insert these sleeves here into these holes here, because the tire carrier ultimately gets all mounted to this, and then this is gonna bolt on. So this could be removable, but when we put the bolts in there, we don't want the bolts to pinch that tubing in. So you're gonna weld these sleeves in, make that a good solid fit through here. A few other little things, and we get this thing painted up, and hope that we've done a good job. I'm just kidding. We have. This is done. We've done the best job, right, Cameron? I said we've done the best job.
Yeah.
Perfect. that. Okay, we're making good progress. I got the tire carrier mostly done. There's a few things that are still just tacked together that I've got to really fully weld, and then we will get to painting it. But so far, I'm like super pumped. That's about as tight as I can get this thing to the vehicle because it hits, you know, this arm down here, but it is adjustable here. So if I had a different offset wheel or a wider tire or whatever, you can move that guy in and out there. So that's as tight as I can get it to the back of the truck. I wish I could get it a little tighter. Now we're going to disassemble it. Cameron's going to take that stuff over to the table over here and start prepping it and getting ready for paint while I start building the jerry can carrier, which I've already started a little bit over there. And then we'll pull the bumper off, finish up a few little things there, get that painted. Then we can put it all back together and this thing's going to be done. So I got the jerry can carrier done. I want to give you guys a good look at how I did this if you're interested in building one of your own. I looked at some other pictures online, YouTube videos, trying to get an idea of how these things were constructed from 4x4 Labs. This is sort of the best I came up with the pieces that were sent. So, you know, you got the main standoff up here, some gussets there. There's another couple set of gussets that comes with this thing. And this made the most sense to me because putting a gusset from here to here didn't really feel like it was doing anything because it was still all twisting on that anyways. So I went from the main upright in the middle out to the corners. And then this is a license plate bracket. So these had to come out far enough for the license plate to come all the way out to here. So that's how I did it. I don't know if that's right or not. And then this side standoff, this is a bottle opener. So I put this on the outside so it was accessible rather than being next to the tire here. So that was another thing. I'll give you kind of a profile here. I've already got some paint on here. Cameron helped me prep these first few pieces of the tire carrier. And we're using couple different things from Eastwood. First thing, I'm using a rust encapsulator as the base coat, like a primer. It's a direct to metal type of paint. I believe the Extreme Chassis Black is as well, but I know that this stuff is super durable, and I've used both of these before. Great products. So anyways, I'm using the rust encapsulator first, and then I went back and put this satin black, chassis black on here, and it's starting to dry. And it's going to look nice. My idea was to go satin black to try to match the Ironman 4x4 front bumper. That's also satin black, so I imagine as this cures, some of that sheen will go away, but it's looking really nice. So now I just need to disassemble the jerry can carrier, get it over here, prep it, paint it. While that's drying, I'll start pulling the rear bumper, the main portion of the bumper off, and get that painted. Now I'm using a few different things to prep this. I'm using a wire brush to kind of get up into some of the welds and get rid of some of the weld spatter and just things like that. And then I'm gonna go back with some sandpaper and Scotch-Brite pads, really scuff this thing up really well, and then clean it with some Prep-All. If you guys watched the last video about the spraying bed liner in my truck, sort of a similar process. Get it cleaned up and then you can spray it grease-free, all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing. All right, guys, we got this thing painted up and all cured overnight, as you can see here. A couple of things to note that you may want to pay attention to as you do projects like this. I masked off some of these bearing surfaces where the tire swing out goes, as well as things like this where the spare tire mounts. I masked off the studs so that when we thread the lug nuts on, we're not binding up with paint and stuff like that. I will put some anti-seize on those as well. But now that that's all done, we can start to mount this stuff, put it back together. Assembly is going to go really, really quickly. So I'll let you just sort of watch that and we'll check it out when it's done. Here we go. Guys, that's it. I'm finally finished with this 4x4 Labs bumper. This was a massive project. I totally underestimated how long it would take to do this. It took me, I think, from start to finish about 7 weeks to get through this, doing like random Saturdays every once in a while. And obviously I had my daughter helping me as well, which was great, but also sort of slowed me down a little bit. But if you're looking to attack this and you can give it full attention, I would anticipate it taking you somewhere between 5 and 7 days if you're doing the tire carrier and the gas can carrier and all that stuff, although those were the easier things to do. But the bumper is pretty time consuming and lining things up and measuring things out and all that kind of stuff. With that said, the quality of this thing is incredible. They are obviously very good at what they do with building their products. It's very thought through, it's very well engineered and designed, and it goes together very nicely. Let's talk about a few things I might have done differently. The handle down here to release the swing outs, I may have flipped the release to the right side. The instructions showed it on the left side. I put it on the left side, but it's down under the tire. It's a little harder to reach. If it was on the right side under the gas can carrier, it would be a little bit easier to get to. However, I may end up putting my high lift jack kind of down in between there, in which case I think I'd prefer to have it on the left side. So just something to keep in mind if you end up building this, you know, where you want that release lever to be and what other accessories you might put back here that might interfere with where that goes. The shocks that they send you for the swing outs to keep them from swinging, these are 150-pound struts. They seem a little aggressive here in the shop when you kind of get past the cam point and they want to spring open really quickly and shoot open. Now, I'm on level ground. If I was, you know, down in a ditch and trying to do something and get into the back of the truck, I might want that extra, you know, push to kind of help get that thing opened or hold it open if the vehicle isn't level or whatever. So that's to be determined, but if I find that they're still too aggressive, I might drop those down to a different weight, different size strut. I also have the 4x4 Labs rock sliders. I was going to try to squeeze that into this video. There's just too much going on. So I will save that for another video. I've got the do-it-yourself, build your own rock slider kit to put on this as well. This was a really long video, so I really appreciate it if you stuck around this far. And with that said, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.